Right guys, so first things first, when you get your frame, you need to try and work out which way you're going to be routing the main harness. In this one, obviously the cables up the top here make for a great hiding place. So we're going to take away the front derailleur and we're going to run the cables up the frame and across. Okay, so first things first, we need to take off the front crank. Bit of an awkward on side here, but I'll do it for you. Right. Stage one, off. Right, so in the kit you'll be getting one of these. It's as simple as pressing in and then closing this one. It'll just come out. But I've got this tool. Also bear in mind that there are some bottom brackets with different spaces in here. So this one will not do. It's because it's the octalink. So this one will not do. So we'll go ahead and get the other one. Right, so as you can see, the difference from this one is it's got a much round the top. Okay, if for example you didn't have one of these and you just had one of these and you've got the octalink, what I have done in the past is find a bolt or a screw that will cover the hole itself, nothing else, just the hole itself, and just enough leverage to get the thread in there. It'll just pop up as usual. So, okay. So what you do is get this threaded in. Okay, so that's threaded in. Right, so once this side is closed quite tight, go ahead and tighten this one. There we go. Cranks off. So we can remove this tool. Then we can do the same for the other side. Right, so we're now on the opposite side. So let's again crank tool in, close it, put it in. Thread it nice and straight, that's the most important thing. Then it's hand tight, give it one last turn. And again we're closing this side. And there we go, so that's the whole crank off. Okay, we're going to take off the bottom brackets. They always start at the non-drive side, so the side that you've just done. Okay, I know it's a bit awkward, but you won't have this tool. You'll have a simple tool, but this arm won't be on it. In. Then turn anti-clockwise on the non-drive side. Okay, then same thing on the opposite side. Okay guys, so we've removed the bottom brackets, all done. Now what I like to do is remove the front derailleur. Just get it out the way. Once that's opened, again, snip this here, because we won't be needing this again. Just let it hang. Okay, so we've got our space in there now for the motor. And obviously we've decided that we're bringing the cables up this side. So bang the motor in. There, we're happy with that. I'm going to turn the bike upside down now, so I'm going to show you the basic chain line stuff, with things you need to keep in mind. Right, we've got the bike upside down here, so what I want you to look at is in specifically to where the motor housing here touches the frame here. So it just about touches there, and as you look, the frame ends here and the casing is about 2 mil to the right, so we need to fill that gap. So all you need is one of these cassette spacers, or yeah, the reducers they are, but they're easily accessible online or whatever. So we'll do that and we'll get back. Right, so we've filled that gap. So we'll put the spacer in there. So all in all, you don't need the gap in there and that touching. Fill the gap up. It doesn't matter if that's touching, as long as there's no gap there. Okay, so we're going ahead now and we're doing this side. We're going to put the clamp on this side. Okay. Right, so we're going to be fitting the clamp on. So the clamp has a grooved edge and a non-grooved edge. And the grooved edge must be facing the bottom bracket, so let's push that in. Now as you can see, hold it square on the bottom bracket, and you see there's a gap here on both sides obviously, so we need to fill these gaps. I use these little spacers that I used in V-brake blocks, so let's bang that in. Okay, so the big one will be too big. Right, so okay, so these are our spacers, so let's bang them on. This one at the top. This one at the bottom. So let's get that on, fill the gap up. Okay, so as you can see, that's nice and straight now. Let's get that tightened up. So tighten it back up. Okay. So the next step will be let's put a bit of Loctite on there. And let's put bit inside the nut itself as well. Okay, so and also on this nut you'll see a flat end and a curved end. So the curved end is pointing towards you. And get it closed hand tight for now. Right, and then you've got your basic tool, motor closing tool. I've got this tool. So 50 to 60 Newton meters on the torque wrench. Right, one more for luck. There we go. This one, I just close hand tight on that one. And there we go. The motor's mounted. Right, so in this section we're going to be fitting the speed sensor. Simple as 3-pin to 3-pin. Close it. Then try and judge where you would want this mounted. So what I do is get the magnet mounted first. Right, let's line it up perfectly. I'm happy with that. Let's throw these zip ties in there. I always like to hide the zip tie ends underneath. Again on this side. And while we're there, we'll just tie the remaining of this cable to the chainstay out of the way. There, and another about here. We'll tidy these up after, and then we'll tie them underneath here. So we've got the gist of it. So this will be the battery harness. Come up here, mount it to the battery. This will be the main harness cable. This will be going up here, mounted to this brake hose, all the way underneath. This would be the gear sensor. It depends on the power of the motor. So I think this is a 350, so I won't be putting a gear sensor on it. So yeah, all of this will be hidden underneath here as we go along. Okay, so next we're going to go on the fitting the chainring. Right, so I've just put this chainring in place just to show you what your main goal is really. If you could just see how close the chainring is to the chainstay. This gap here, perfect. The tighter it is to the chainstay, the better. The further away it is, the more likely you'll get a chain line issue and the chain will keep falling off. So that's perfect. So we'll close this up now, we'll put a cover on and we'll go to the next step. Right, another big common mistake I find is people cross-threading their pedals. It's as simple as right on the right side, left on the left side. So right, left, and close these in place, and then we'll go to the next step. Right guys, so the next step would be get the main harness fitted. Again, I've seen this numerous times. Please, you're just making it hard for yourself. Follow the arrows, match up the arrows. 2 arrows, done, okay? What I like with this kind of build is, like I told you, we can use this main hose here as the anchor point. So we're going up from the back here. This cable is no longer in use, so we'll get rid of that. Get that hanging down there. Okay, so let's mount it here. So let's put a few ties, not much. Don't like using ties, but needs must on some builds. Okay. So let's get one in here, right in the bottom. Tidy it up later on, but I'm just showing you the gist of it. This top one, let's get one right underneath the plug itself. Right, and then we just mount it all the way across the main hose here. Otherwise, if you're going underneath, you can use a number of things. You can buy these self-adhesive clips that can go underneath and then just close the cable inside. You could even mount it across the top if the cables are running across the top. Any way you like, but I like hiding everything of mine, okay? So yeah, so we'll get this hooked on to all across here, and we'll get back to the next stage. Right, the next stage on my build would be fitting the battery, okay? So we know we've got 2 bottle cages mounts here. In the bottom, I know they're not good, but the way these are fitted, it doesn't make sense, okay? But what I like to do is, you've got this big plastic section there, okay? So try and aim in the middle, okay? So let's bring the battery as close as down we can to the bottom of this mount. Find the middle. So line up the top bolt with the middle of the block we've just put an X on, and then mark the other one on the metal, okay? I know that it doesn't sound or look very strong, but this it's only 351 motor. It's a guy that won't be, going cross country. They'll be going around town and so forth, so it'll be more than solid enough. So if you mark them 2, we'll get it drilled out, we'll fit the mounting, and then we'll go back to the next stage. Right, so that's the hole I was telling you about, right in the centre of the black piece. And here now we've already fitted this part, so we put a nice, using the same lug hole that was there, a little washer as well, and that's solid enough. So now we're going to wire up, before putting the case back on, we're going to wire it back up. So we wire the motor cable and join it to the battery harness. So we'll go to the next step now. Right guys, so we'll be connecting the main harness, the main power from the motor now to the cradle. So what I do is, again, you don't have to do it the way I do it. I measure halfway down of the block, okay? So I go about there. Then I'd measure the cable coming up from the motor, and I'd just pass halfway on this one. Then let's splice it up a bit. So we can take that off. We can splice this open. Okay, then we'll take show this off now. Okay, so then we've got simple. Right, then we'll go get some heat shrink cable, this size maybe, cut it in half, we'll feed it side all the way as far back as we can. Okay, then we'll just wiggle them in, tighten. Then again, you wouldn't have to solder, you could just use cable connectors, anything, but this needs to be solid, really. Can't put enough solder on it. Okay, so that's one side. Let's decide. I think that's a good join. So that's enough of the done. Get your tubing down, cover the whole thing. Let's get that out of the way. Just cut that. That's that piece there. There we go. It's over. Right, so what I like to do as well is just put some tape as well from the bottom, just extra security. There you go, that's done. So we'll mount the cradle back on now. Right, another thing that's important if you're mounting it like I have here, so this bolt must be flattish. There's no point putting a chunky one on there or the battery won't mount on. And the second thing, you will need to hold this metal plate in place. You can use glue, tape, whatever you want to use it, but that cannot move. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some tape on it for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape right across there and underneath there. Okay, that's it. Right, so we'll mount battery, close it. That's how simple that is, guys. Okay. Right, so now we're going to sort this chain and front derailleur out. So we're going to split the chain. Okay, so that one's a closed end. We need that. So the side that this splits is an open end. We need to get rid of that. So one link down again, cuts it. So we've got two closed ends. Right, we'll remove the front derailleur, it's gone. And we've got a set of quick links. It doesn't have to go straight on, you can put it on after, but in theory, quick link on that side. Quick link on this side, bang it on. A2. Put it up until it clicks, have a look at it, done. So let's get it on the bike and see. Right, there she is, okay. We'll sort the gears out later, but we'll have a quick look. You want to check in this top gear. Okay, as you can see, chain is staying on. Engine gear. We need to index. We'll index the bottom gear after, but that's nothing to do with the build, it's just gearing. Okay, so we've done that bit, so next bit will be removing the left hand shifter, removing the grips, mounting the display and pedals on, and then tuning up. Right, so let's remove the grips and the shifter. So a little tip for you, these can be a right pain to get off, so carefully put your screwdriver in there, flat head, lift it up just a tiny bit, get your spray in there, doesn't really matter what it is. Penetrate the oil, then give it a twist, and it's off, okay? Get your brake lever off. Get your shifter off. So this shifter isn't going to be used. So obviously there's no front derailleur on it now. Let's remove it, get rid of it. Put the lever back on. Again, just put a bit more fluid inside the grip, not a lot. So while that's on now, measure the gap between both and the angle. And let's close it back up. We might need to mess about with it after to put the controller button in that control button, so it's not that tight, we'll hand tight for now. Okay, so next step will be the display. Right, so we've fitted the display, we've fitted the remote button. Now there's a few options with these, the remaining harness leads. You know, what I like to do is, on some frames you get a good gap underneath the fork steerer tube, and then just get it as far as you can up there, but make sure that when you turn, okay, it doesn't hamper your turning cycle. Okay, now with what's left, I will cover these with tape and zip tie there. Right, so there we are guys, that's all done, all hidden underneath beautifully, very minimal cable showing. Okay, so yeah, I forgot to mention, so most people will not know what the remaining leads are for. So there were 3 yellow ones there, yeah? So obviously you could fit a throttle, I don't, because I don't agree with them. And the brake levers or brake sensors, and the reason I'm not going to fit them on this one is because it's a low powered motor and you won't need it, and it's got disc brakes. So okay, so let's now fit the pedals on, and then we'll tune it up, and then I'll show you the completed bike. As you can see, it looks good. Okay, so we'll put the pedals on and then we'll tune it up. Right guys, so here it is, complete, done.